Welcome to our Recycling Craft and Chat, brought to you by the Ecology Center in the city of Ann Arbor. Today's topic is recycling reminders, plus how to do a home waste audit.
Here's a description of the city's recycling rules, which can be found on their website, www.a2gov.org. Generally, there are 4 types of materials that can be recycled in your curbside cart: paper, plastic, metal, and glass. But within each category, there are those exceptions and tricky items that we often get questions about. Most of the rules for what can and cannot be recycled depend on what the recycling center accepts. The official name for a recycling center is a Materials Recovery Facility, or a MRF. For an item to be recyclable, the MRF has to be able to physically sort and separate it from other types of materials. And the MRF has to be able to sell the sorted materials to a remanufacturer. Today's craft will help us pick out those exceptions and tricky recyclables. You start with a paper cutout. Today we're using a raccoon in honor of ReEco, but you can choose any shape that you or your kids would enjoy. I have an example here of a robot that's been used for this activity. We do recommend that you pick a heavier weight paper when you do your cutout, something like a cardstock rather than notebook paper. Take some time to color your cutout. The next step will be to glue on examples of materials that cannot go in the recycling bin. This is a little twist on the common magnet that you might find on your refrigerator that tells you what you can put in. You can use any type of glue. Let's take a look at some of the things we can use to decorate our cutout and talk about how they represent items that are not recyclable. Let's start with food. It's one of the most important things to keep out of your recycling cart. Uncooked pasta or dry beans are a good food craft item because they will not spoil. Remember that Ann Arbor has curbside compost collection from April through November, and this system is completely separate from where your recycling goes. The next craft item we have are pieces of paper towel or napkins. Delicate papers like paper towels, tissues, and napkins should never be put in the curbside recycling because the paper fibers that are used to make these papers have already been recycled many times, and they're too weak to go through the process again. You can compost these delicate papers, though. Cut up paper scraps can be used to remind you not to put paper plates, disposable cups, or other wax-coated paper items into the recycling. The coating on these papers that helps to keep them from falling apart when holding liquids cannot be easily removed from the paper, and it interferes with the paper remanufacturing process. Aseptic containers are an exception. Containers like milk and soy cartons or juice boxes that hold cold liquids have a plastic layer that can be easily removed during the remanufacturing process. So these paper boxes are recyclable. Wooden toothpicks, wood craft shapes, or even sticks from outside can be used to remind you that wood is not the same thing as paper. Although they both come from trees and are both compostable, only paper can go in the recycling cart. The wood fibers need to be processed before they are in a condition that makes them fit for the recycling system. So keep wooden furniture, tools, containers, and yard waste out of the recycling bin. Add some small swatches of cloth or felt to your collage to remind you that any fabric, carpeting, textile, clothing, or shoes may be taken to drop-off centers or donated to resale shops, but should never be put in your recycling bin. The MRF that takes your curbside recycling does not have any contracts to sell textiles to remanufacturers. Pieces of yarn, pipe cleaners, rubber bands, a paper clip. These household items can all represent the long, thin items like string and wire that get caught in machinery at the MRF. We want to avoid putting anything long and stringy into your curbside cart. No reminder would be complete without some pieces of soft plastic or plastic wrappers to remind you that soft plastics like sandwich bags, grocery bags, chip bags, candy wrappers are one of the worst sources of contamination at MRFs. These soft plastics get caught in machinery, jamming equipment, so that the MRF has to actually shut down operations frequently, sometimes several times a day, to pull these plastics out. Add some packing peanuts or foam shapes to remind us that styrofoam cannot go in the curbside cart. Styrofoam is recyclable at Ann Arbor's drop-off station, but if it goes in the cart and ends up at the MRF, the styrofoam is easily crushed, and because of the static, will cling to paper and make it hard to sort and separate materials. Pebbles, shells, straws, even a plastic fork can be added to remind you not to put small items in the recycling. They will just get lost at the MRF and end up as trash. The only exception is a small plastic bottle cap. Just make sure the cap is on the bottle, then everything will get sorted properly at the MRF. There are 7 types of plastic. You can look at the bottom of a plastic container to find out what type of plastic it is made of, 1 through 7. These different plastics are all jumbled together in your curbside cart, but at the MRF they need to be separated because different plastic numbers get turned into different kinds of products. Add some plastic beads to your cutout to remind yourself to check for a number. If you can't find a number on your plastic item, then assume a MRF worker won't be able to either. In Ann Arbor, you can recycle 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, but not number 3 plastics. Well, that does it for our review for today, and it looks like ReEco is done with her collage. Let's take a look at what she made. Feel free to add some words to remind you further. We thought this would be a great opportunity to do a waste audit.
What's a waste audit?
A waste audit is a detailed inspection of the waste that you're creating in your home. Plan to gather waste for 1 week to use for your audit. When you're getting prepared to start collecting waste for your audit, it's best to agree on having a bowl or a bucket where everybody in the family can put food waste so that it doesn't get into the garbage can and end up getting all over everything else. This will make it a lot cleaner of a sort when it comes time to do the sorting at the end of the week. Just as you don't want to have to necessarily pick through your food waste, so we're collecting it separately, we're going to do the same thing with bathroom waste. You want to let everybody in the family know that anything that goes into the bathroom trash cans is going to be bagged up and weighed separately at the end of the week and assigned to landfill. So you're not going to be picking through anything that goes into the bathroom trash cans. So the other item that you want to make sure that you have on hand by the end of the week is a pair of gloves. You're going to want to wear these when you sort through the waste, and right now here I have some disposable ones, but you are welcome to use any kind of glove that you could then toss into the laundry afterwards. Having a good scale is a necessary piece of equipment to be able to do a waste audit. You can use an ordinary bathroom scale or a luggage scale, but we don't recommend planning to use a kitchen scale that would be used for weighing, foods, for example. The reason why is that the waste is going to be kind of bulky, and so you need a scale that can manage working with large, bulky bags. Okay, let's review the steps to preparing for a waste audit. Set up a separate container for food waste. 1 week before doing the audit. A bucket or similar container that can be stored with a lid works well. Step 2. Plan to keep your bathroom waste separate. This is one bag we will not be digging through at the end of the week. 3. Prepare your data sheet and to reflect the kind of information you want to collect and calculate about your waste. You will note that it includes some different categories of waste, places to record the weight of each category and the total waste, as well as a space to make note of specific items. You can think ahead of time about the type of calculations you might like to make. Do you want to see what your recycling rate is? Or how much waste per person in your household you're creating? Step 4. Gather gloves, masks if you choose, a big tarp or sheet to put on the floor, and extra bags for sorting waste. You want to get your data collection sheet and writing instrument. A calculator can be helpful, and a scale, of course, for weighing. Step 5. Convince your family members to join the effort, or to help keep the dog from messing with your sorting system. Perform the audit. And finally, report information from the audit to your family members and use it to create an action plan together to reduce your household waste. Hey, Graham! Are you ready to get started with our waste audit?
Yes. Okay, now we need to lay out this tarp.
Yep. This tarp is going to help us make sure that we don't get any waste items on our nice, clean floor.
All right, I'm all suited up. This is all bathroom scale.
And we are going to use it today to weigh our waste. If you have a luggage scale, that can be used as well.
First, we'll need to weigh myself. Okay, and that my weight is 75 lb. So now we want to weigh myself holding the trash. Then let's see. That is 82 pounds. Now we need to subtract 75 from 82. And it equals 7, which means that all bag of waste here equals 7 pounds. Oh, okay. Here's our data sheet.
Well, that's it for our waste audit program. Hope you learned a thing or two.
Yeah. And have fun, of course.
We'll join you again next month with another Craft and Chat.